one is another big one. This is the first plant when you get into the living room. This plant actually reminds me of the Anthurium luxurians. Both of them rotted the entire root system. Pretty easy grower. I would definitely recommend it to anybody that is looking for an alocasia to add to their collection. The back of the leaves, like pretty much all of the alocasias, is probably where the party is at. So let's go.
Goeiemôre, goeiemiddag, goeienaand. Whether it is morning, afternoon, or evening where you are, it's always a good time to watch some plants YouTube. My name is Shane, and in today's video, we are going to be looking at all of the alocasias in this plant loving house. I hope you enjoy this. Let's get into it.
We are going to start with the plants on the shelves behind me. So let's go. First up is two plants actually. This one is the Alocasia Tendurusa, and in the same pot we also have the Alocasia Nobilis. Both of them rotted the entire root system, and I was only left with a corm. Luckily I was able to reroot both corms, and by the time that it both had two leaves on it, I made the decision to put them in one pot together for the simple reason, to me, they kind of the same shape to it. They look very much alike. In my conditions, they have the exact same care, and I don't regret that decision at all. So the Tendurusa is a very hairy texture, while the Nobilis is a smooth texture. Of course, the coloring is different, and that's what I really like about this plant. They bring something different into the house. So this is a very dark green type of coloring to it, and this one is, of course, is a little bit lighter, and I love the contrast that it brings to this plant loving house. The unexpected advantage of putting them up together that I found was that Alocasia Tendurusa tends to be quite a spider mite magnet. Because of the hairy texture, even with a microscope, it's a little bit difficult to see the pests on it, whereas on the Nobilis it's quite easy because of the smooth texture. And when I did have a spider mite outbreak this summer, and on this plant used to be quite the attraction for a lot of the spider mites, and the first indicator, or the first plant that I look at, is the Nobilis actually. So once I see the spider mites on the Nobilis, I know that the Tendurusa also has it, and I managed to treat it, and luckily up until this point the house is completely free of spider mites. I'm really happy about that. So yeah, the first plants that we have is the Alocasia Tendurusa and the Alocasia Nobilis. The next plant up is not looking too great. This is the Alocasia Longiloba Black cobra. It is also commonly referred to as Alocasia purple. So you can't see it on this leaf because it's not looking the best. At the back of the leaf you can see the purple of it, and normally if you look at the front of the leaf you would be able to see that purple coming through. I got it quite a while ago, I think about a year ago. It had more leaves, but I transferred it to pond in the summer. I think it's still working on its roots currently, and I might have overwatered it a little bit. That's why you can see the spots on it. So at the moment I would say this plant is a little bit difficult for me, but I'm sure once it has an established root system and it went through its dormancy period, I think spring we will see a much better look to this plant. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited to see the nice purple leaves on it. Next up is this beautiful dark plant. This one is called Puncak Borneensis. I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I'll put the name up on the screen so that you can search for it and you can see what the pronunciation actually is, or the spelling actually is. This one I really like because of the dark foliage that it has and the elongated leaf. This is a super easy grower for me, constantly putting out new leaves. As you can see, this one is not even unfurled yet. It looks quite long, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be bigger than the previous leaves. Pretty easy grower. I would definitely recommend it to anybody that is looking for an alocasia to add to their collection. The next plant up is the Alocasia Sinuata. This is also quite an easy plant. This plant actually reminds me of the Anthurium luxurians with the bullet type of leaf feature. It is also quite a unique plant in terms of the shape that it has, with this lobes that you have on top, and it's a little bit rounder. I also really like the color. So I've also had this plant for over a year now. It has been growing quite steadily. I repotted this plant probably about 6-7 months ago, and since then it's kind of just been working on a lot of the roots. I think by now the root system has been quite established and it's really growing quite nicely. It has pupped in the meantime as well. So this one, I just cut off the older leaf because it wasn't looking quite good, but it has pupped. It has a separate corm that is also growing in the same pot. Here you can see the new leaf. It is quite smaller than the old ones, and I think it's probably because we're coming to the end of the season, so it's not really growing as vigorously as it normally does. But I love the leaf shape of it. I love these two little lobes that it gets and the rounder shape that it has. The color is also really beautiful. It has a little bit of a tinge of gray silverish on it, and it is such a nice plant. Also a very easy grow, I think. The leaves with this kind of plasticky texture is probably much easier than the velvety anthurium. So
what?
Not anthurium, this is an alocasia. I really like this plant, and I'm excited to see what next spring also holds for this plant. That is all the alocasia that I have on this shelf, so I'll go to the bedroom. I only have one plant in there, and it is the Alocasia Pink Dragon. So this one is actually my very first alocasia. I really like the pink petioles that it has, and it was of course much smaller when I got it, probably about 2 years ago, and every spring summer season it just keeps on sizing up. So it's one of the bigger alocasias in my collection. This is the newest leaf. I really quite enjoy this plant. It's quite an easy grower. It has a nice dark leaf to it. It has pupped this year. So I saw 2 corms that sprouted in this pot. This plant also got spider mites, and it got hit quite hard, and that's why I had to separate it. It was living in the living room with the other plants, but because it was constantly covered in spider mites and I couldn't get it under control, it was placed very close to where the bathroom is, and that's the bedroom. And ever since then it just found its spot there. This plant, I think also because of the spider mites, it did flower. I think it was probably thinking that it was about to die, so it decided to flower. I didn't do anything with flowers. I'm not really familiar with pollinating alocasias at the moment, but I'm hoping to do that next season. So hopefully in the next growing season it is going to be a good opportunity for me to get into alocasia pollination. So I'm really excited about that. Next up, we are going to head into the living room. So this is the first plant when we get into the living room, and she's massive. She is a beauty. She doesn't look that pretty now, and the only reason is this plant fell. So I repotted this plant along with a lot of the other plants that I have, and I decided to repot it in a glass long cylinder. As you can see, there's a lot of leaves on this plant, and it's quite top heavy. I didn't water it soon enough, and it got top heavy, and it just toppled over. Plant landed on the ground, pretty much damaged all of the leaves that it had at the time, so that's what you can see, this damage is on the plant. But since then it's been doing quite well. It's put out these 2 new leaves, and it looks absolutely beautiful. This is the alocasia that I got, and it went through a journey, to say the least. I bought it as a 4-leaf plant from a very reputable seller in South Africa, and it had about 4 leaves. It was probably about 12 centimeters long, all 4 of them, and they were in a 25 centimeter pot. I didn't know much about alocasias. I didn't know much about plants at that time. I was still learning quite a bit, and it did look odd to me at first, to be quite honest. This big pot with only those 4 leaves, that doesn't look too big, but the seller is quite reputable, so I didn't really question it a lot. Probably about 3 weeks after, I started getting worried because the soil just didn't dry up. I didn't have to water it at all. Probably about 2 weeks after that, the plant started to drop its first leaf. I didn't think much of it. I thought maybe it's just acclimation issues. And a couple of weeks later, the second leaf started to go. When I saw the third leaf starting to go, it was the day before I had to go on holiday for about 2.5 weeks. And I knew that I had to do something. And I took it out of the pot, and that's when I realized most of the root system is completely gone. It's rotted. In my inexperience, I didn't use anything to treat that root rot. I just decided to repot it in fresh soil the day before I went on holiday. I then just said a little bit of a prayer before I left for the plant. And when I came back 2.5, 3 weeks later, I looked at the plant and I didn't have a lot of expectations. I thought the plant would just tank. I saw it initially, it had 3 leaves on it. One was completely a goner. It was literally lying on the side of the pot. The second one was nice and green. The third one was a lighter green that's a little bit bigger than the second leaf. And at first I was like, okay, you had died. When I saw that light green, I thought, okay, this is just a matter of time. That last one is probably going to go soon as well. As I was getting ready with the other plants, I realized that actually that plant only had 2 leaves when I left. Now it has 3. So maybe that third leaf that looks light green is actually a new leaf. And I quickly ran over to it, and that's exactly what it was. I was so happy. My prayers had been answered. The plant had lived. The plant had, in that 2 weeks, the plant had regenerated its roots and kept the last leaf that it had. I was excited. I was ecstatic. Since then, this plant hasn't been looking back at all. It is a constant grower during the growing season only. I do find that it goes through a dormancy period where it might put out 1 leaf in autumn, winter period, but a very small leaf. Every season, the leaves get bigger. At the start of the season, I would see a significant increase in leaf size. This is the previous season's leaf, and then this is the next season. For all of that season, the leaves would be the size, but between seasons, the leaf has increased. Absolutely love this plant. It is the apple of a lot of people's eyes. When they come into the house, it's probably the first real plant that they are enamored by. I absolutely love this plant. The next one is another big one. So this is the Alocasia Frydek. I first bought this one. A week later, I saw another seller selling a bigger one. This is actually my second attempt at growing this plant. I bought one probably about 2 years ago, and that one quickly died a very sad death. And I decided to buy the second one because I wanted this one to be kind of insurance if this one also tanks. Luckily for me, I managed to keep both of them alive, so I now have 2 beautiful Frydeks. I really love the variegation of this plant. Every single leaf looks extremely different to the last, so you never know what you're going to get. Whenever I see a new leaf poking out, I get super excited and I'll watch it every single day because I really want to see what is new. Are you going to give me a lot of white variegation? Are you going to give me a half moon type of thing? Speckly even variegation? It's just such a lovely plant to have in any type of collection. This one also has spider mites, not as bad as other plants to be quite honest, but I decided to treat them and I had to treat them a couple of times. There was one time that I forgot to clean the leaves of the water, and I think the water caused damage on these 2 leaves, but since then these 3 leaves grew and they are looking in perfect condition. I just like to keep the damaged leaves on it. It doesn't bother me too much. I think once it gets to about 50%, then I'll probably cut them off and let them go. In nature, you don't get perfect plants. So I'm not expecting perfection from my plant. Alocasia Frydek. The last plant that I have in ambient is this Alocasia Dragon's Breath. I got this plant imported probably about a year ago. I also transferred this plant along with the other Alocasias about 7 months ago to pon. Since then, it has established quite a good root system and it also puffed. And I do find it quite easy. I love the leaf shape. It looks more like a nice arrow. I love these longer ears that it has. I'm really excited to size this one up. Whenever I see this one big, it is so impressive. It has that daggery look. It has that gray look. I love the fact that it is more of a grayish greenish color. It brings a little bit of a different color scheme into the house, which I really appreciate. I love the variety that plants bring. So yeah, I am really excited to see this one grow up. Okay, so that is all of the plants that I grow in ambient. The next batch of plants are plants that I grow in an IKEA cabinet, not the double door one, the single door one. The only reason why I grow it in the IKEA cabinet is simply because of the aesthetic reasons. I didn't do any modifications to it, so there's a lot of airflow going in and out. So humidity, I don't really regulate. I don't have any grow lights in there, so it just gets the natural light from the window. Yeah, so nothing really special being done with that. So you can kind of say it's ambient, but not really. Really, it's just in there as I guess a showpiece of some sort. But without further ado, let's look at those plants. So the first plant that I'm going to show you is this Alocasia Azlanii. And the nice thing about the Alocasia is the dark foliage. At the back of the leaf, you can see on the new one especially, it has a purple back to it, which then also translates to the front. It does have a nice purple leaf, and the bright greenish veining makes for a very, very pretty plant. This one has also grown some corms in the pot, in the substrate. These two leaves that you can see over here, the smaller ones, they are the pup, and this is the mother plant. I've had it for quite a while as well, similar to all of the other alocasias. They weren't doing too great in the soil, and again, it didn't really fit in my lifestyle. So this one also transferred to pun, like all of the others. This one is of course extremely different to the other one, seeing that it is completely round. Again, I really like the different colors, the different shapes, the different leaf textures that you get in Alocasia. So this is definitely a little bit different to all of the other ones that I have, but again, absolutely love it and do not regret getting this one at all. The next one that I'm going to show you is the Alocasia Melo. So this one is quite special because of the leaf texture. It's a little bit hardier than everybody else. Like the previous Azlanii was very thin leaf. This one is quite hardy, quite like the dragon scale, the silver dragon type of feel to it. The nice thing about it is the texture that it has. It feels a little bit rough. It's not really hairy, but it just has such a unique texture to it and such a unique look to it as well. So this one I only top watered. I didn't keep a reservoir for the first couple of months, and only a couple of weeks ago I started keeping a reservoir. I think perhaps the pond was a little bit too wet before I added the reservoir. So I think the plant took up a little bit more water than it actually needed, and that's why there's the yellowing tips on the old leaves, but the new one seems to still be fine. It still grows quite consistently, obviously keeping the smaller leaves. It does a small upsize, but again, I'm probably expecting in the next season after its dormancy period, it'll probably then pick up a little bit of the size. So yeah, a really pretty one, really unique, absolutely love it. Really easy, really unique as well in the collection. I know I say that for everyone, but I absolutely love the different variations, varieties that you get in Alocasias. This plant is probably one of my absolute favorites in my Alocasia collection. If I can only choose a couple of Alocasias to keep, this would definitely be top of the list. There's just something about this plant, I guess the round shape, the purple back that it has, and it's quite a thin leaf plant, so you can see almost right through the leaf. I am absolutely in love with this one. It has a little bit of these ears, but not yet on the smaller one. I think as it matures, it'll probably come in a little bit more. But this one has been sizing up quite nicely, actually. This is the oldest leaf on the plant, so you can see it's quite small. And this was the next one, which is quite a nice upsize. This one is then the newest leaf on the plant, and as you can see, there's also quite a bit of a increase, and I'm expecting a new leaf, which is very exciting. Again, one of my favorite ones to look out for whenever there's a leaf. I cannot wait for it to open. So every day, every morning when I wake up, this is one of the first plants that I go to just to see if something new has happened on it. And so far, nothing yet. Of course, I can see the leaf out of the catapult, but yeah, super excited about this one and the prospects of it. It grows quite quickly and it can get quite big. Well, as you will see on this channel, I absolutely love big plants. I love growing big plants. I love growing plants from small to quite large. So yeah, I'm really excited to see this one grow up. So this is the next one. This is Alocasia Ninja. And the really nice characteristics of this plant is a really round leaf shape and really dark with the quite white venation in it. It is absolutely stunning. I absolutely love the look of the plant, but I love the velvety texture much more. It's a really nice plant to have in the collection just to look at it. It brings that pop of darkness and contrasting light veins to it. If you're looking for it, you can probably get it. It's not very rare at the moment. I find this one a little bit easier than the black velvet. So if any of you are struggling with the black velvet, rather consider this one. It's quite an easy grower. It's constantly putting out a new leaf and you will not be disappointed with this one at all. So yeah, this one is Alocasia Ninja. The next one is a little bit of a smaller one as well. This one is called Alocasia Amazonica aurea splash, so it has the more yellow splashy variegation to it. Still quite a young plant. It's sized up just a little bit in the last couple of months that I've had it. The mature one seems to be quite beautiful, so I can't wait for this one to just size up. Hopefully within the next growing season, we should be able to see quite a bit of size up on this one. So yeah, I did import this one. It's a little bit difficult to find in South Africa. I'm really looking forward to grow this plant, get corms, and then share it with the South African community. So next up is the Alocasia Bisma. So also the longer leaves as we saw on the dragon's breath, but this one is a little bit lighter green. It's quite a challenging plant for me, to be quite honest. The older leaves keep on yellowing off, like you'll see this one is already starting to yellow off, and I'm not quite sure what the reason for that is. The newer one seems to be quite pretty and a little bit of size up on that one, so maybe it is still doing okay. I can see the start of the roots at the bottom of the pot, so I'm not too concerned about the overall health of the plant. I'm just not quite sure. Maybe it's one of those one leaf wonders. I guess probably as the seasons go by, I'll probably see a little bit more as to whether that is what this plant is all about, or I'll figure out, or I will crack the code on keeping a little bit more leaves on this one. So this one is really light green kind of plant, and I absolutely love this darker veining. It's a little bit different to the other ones that we've seen, where the majority of the leaves is dark and the veining is white. So this one is kind of the opposite. So it's a really pretty different plant in the house. So yeah, we'll see what he also gets up within the next couple of months. Okay, so the very last plant in the cabinet is this Alocasia Nebula. It kind of looks very similar to the Alocasia Melo, but the texture is completely different. This one has more of a smooth texture compared to that one, and I think it's a little bit darker as well. So yeah, I really like this plant. It has the nice round shape, a little bit of a grayish tone that it brings into the house. The back of the leaves, like pretty much all of the alocasias, is probably where the party is at. This one at the back is kind of light green with the typical alocasia purple veining to it. So beautiful in the front, but also beautiful at the back. And if you have a look at the stem, it also is quite interesting with these little spots that it has. Not many alocasias in the collection have that. So yeah, a little bit of a extra detail on this plant. This is Alocasia Nebula. Alright, so we've gone into the last batch of alocasias that I have, and they're grown in the grow tent. The only reason why I started growing them in the grow tent is just because they are quite new in the collection, so they've only come into the house the last couple of months. and they have been imported, so they need a little bit more higher humidity, a little bit better light, and a little bit more warmth. So that's the only reason why they're rotated. As soon as they are big enough, they will come out into ambient and live with the rest of the alocasias. So first up, we have Alocasia Venom. It is quite rare in South Africa, so I managed to get one of the sellers to import this for me. I got it as a form and I rooted it in 50% stratum and 50% perlite mix. And within 2 weeks, it rooted quite nicely and it shooted out this leaf, which kind of gave the indication that it is going to be a venom. The next leaf was this one after was this one, and the newest leaf is probably the one that resembles a proper venom the most, with these little rabbit ears and this elongated leaf shape with the purple back and the silvery venation that also bleeds more towards the end or more towards the bottom of the leaf. So yeah, there's a new leaf coming. It's actually quite a really fast grower. I think it probably grows a leaf every month and a half. As soon as one hardens off, one starts to grow. So as you can see, there is a new one coming over there. So really excited to see what the next one is going to look like. And this one already looks quite similar to what a mature specimen would look like. So yeah, that is Alocasia Venom. So next one that I have is Alocasia Dragon scale. This is the albo version. As you can see on this leaf, it has a beautiful white variegation on it. This is the newest leaf. I'm not quite sure what happened here. I think because it was still unfurling while it was in transit, it got a little bit damaged. It's actually a demon damage. For some other reason, the ends of the leaves is kind of just withering away and it really feels like water coming out. So yeah, I'm not too concerned about it, saying that it's the leaf in transit. There is a new one coming here and it does look like it is, and it does look like it's quite variegated. So really excited to see how that one is going to look when it opens. This is actually a corm from this plant. So this came together in one pot and I just managed to separate it and see what this one is going to look like. This one is quite green, so I'm not quite sure if it's going to be variegated, so we'll see. The new leaf is also just about to unfold, so we'll see quite soon what this one does. Yeah, so this one is Alocasia Dragon Scale Albo variegation. So we'll stay with the albo variegation. This one is Alocasia Maharani albo. So pretty similar looking to the Alocasia Ninja that I just showed a little bit earlier on. So I'm also expecting a little bit of a rounder leaf shape, but of course this one is going to be the white variegated one. So this one was also sent to me as a form and I managed to root it. Yeah, so that is Maharani albo. See, but there's actually another form in this pot and it is the Alocasia Nobilis variegated. Second plant that we looked at was the Alocasia. That's the regular version. This one is the variegated version. So I'm really excited. I can see that it's starting to sprout now. So hopefully in a couple of weeks it should have a new leaf and we can actually see what the variegation is going to look like. So this is actually my preferred way of sprouting on the form. I normally put it in a container and pretty much fill it 3/4 of the way upwards the liquor layer. And then I put some sphagnum moss on top and I just put the form on top of the sphagnum moss. So the sphagnum moss, in my opinion, helps the form to really sprout. And as soon as it hits the liquor, it then gets that semi-hydro type of water root, which is quite good because I will transfer it to semi-hydro. So yeah, this is exciting. Alocasia Maharani albo and Alocasia Nobilis variegated. The second to last one that I want to show you is a nice pink variegated plant. So this is Alocasia Amazonica albo. It doesn't have pink in the name, or shouldn't have pink in the name. The only reason why this one looks so pink is because of that really bright red pinkish back to it. The back of the leaf is actually where the party happens. So it has this beautiful, intense pink maroon-ish color to it. And because the leaf is so thin, the white actually then looks like pink in front as well because of that back that comes through quite nicely. So I'm really excited to have this one, really excited to grow them out. This is the first leaf in my care, so I did have these other leaves. but it managed to root quite well. You can see really thick roots in this pot. Same thing as one of the other imports, 50% stratum, 50% perlite, and it's doing really, really well in terms of roots currently. There is a nice new leaf on the way as well. This is also one of those typical variegated plants. You never know what you're going to get with it, so I'm really excited to see what the next one looks like. Yeah, so this one is Alocasia Amazonica albo. So staying with the pink theme of alocasias, the last one that I want to show you today is Alocasia Chantrieri variegated. The back doesn't seem to have much of a color to it, but the front still seems to have that pink, so I think this is actually pink variegation. It did come with only one leaf that was 99% variegated, so it actually had no chance of surviving, and it literally just fell off a couple of days ago. There is a new leaf coming, so with this pretty variegation, I'm really excited to see what the next one is going to look like. So yeah, this is Alocasia Chantrieri variegated. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this video. If you watched to the end, please let me know what your favorite alocasia is. If you have any of these that I've just shown, you can see it's a little bit of a mixed bag for me. Some I grow really good, some it's a little bit of a struggle, some are quite small, some are medium. So please, if you have any tips and tricks for me, leave it down in the comments. Let's have a conversation around it. And I think that's a wrap. Thanks so much, everybody.